Your life as a secret agent. Most people imagine a secret agent's life as something out of a film. Fast cars, dramatic escapes, and constant explosions in exotic cities. You used to think the same way too before you learned the truth. The real life of a secret agent is quieter, heavier, and far more mentally exhausting than anything shown on a screen. Your story doesn't begin with action. It begins in an office. You are 24 years old, sitting behind a desk as a cybersecurity analyst. The hum of servers replaces excitement. Your days are filled with monitoring systems, scanning logs, and writing reports that disappear into government archives. Nothing about your life feels dangerous, but something inside you always feels unfinished, like you are meant for something bigger than routine work. Then one day, everything shifts. You receive an invitation to an interview that is described as special assessment. The location is unmarked. The building plan and the people who greet you are polite but unreadable. The questions start normally, your education, your job experience, but quickly become unusual. They ask how you handle pressure when you are isolated. They ask whether you can lie convincingly to people you care about. They ask what you would do if no one ever believed your version of the truth. You leave the interview without answers. Months pass. Then the phone rings. You are offered a position you never expected. A secret intelligence agency wants you. The acceptance process is not optional in feeling, even though it technically is. You already know that saying no would mean returning to your old life, and something inside you refuses that. Training begins immediately. You are taken into a controlled environment where your identity outside the facility slowly stops mattering. The training is intense, but not in the cinematic way you might expect. No one teaches you how to be a hero. They teach you how to observe without being noticed, how to listen without reacting, and how to think in layers instead of straight lines. You learn surveillance techniques by being placed in crowded environments and told to identify patterns others ignore. A man adjusting his watch too often. A woman scanning exits before sitting down. A conversation that repeats itself slightly differently every time it is overheard. You learn that most people reveal themselves without ever realizing it. One instructor tests your memory by placing objects on a table for 5 seconds. You are expected to recall every detail afterward. At first, you fail like everyone else, but gradually your mind adapts. You stop looking at things casually. You start absorbing them. Training also changes your body. You practice defensive driving in controlled chaos, learning how to react when control disappears. You study basic medical procedures, learning how to stabilize injuries in environments where help may not arrive. You train in communication systems, encryption, and counter-surveillance techniques that force you to think like both hunter and target. The hardest lesson is not physical. It is psychological. You learn how to separate your identity into layers. What you show, what you hide, and what you never admit even to yourself. Every agent is taught this because survival depends on it. Eventually, training ends. There is no ceremony. No applause, just an assignment. Your first mission is not what you imagined when you thought about espionage. There are no dramatic chases or sudden explosions. Instead, you are placed in a monitoring role, analyzing communications tied to a suspected criminal network. You spend weeks reading fragments of messages, searching for meaning in repetition and gaps. At first, it feels like meaningless work, but slowly, patterns begin to emerge. Timing irregularities, language shifts, behavioral signatures hidden in simple words. You realize something important early on. Intelligence work is not about dramatic discoveries. It is about patience. Then the pattern becomes clear enough to matter. A coordinated cyber operation is being planned against critical infrastructure. It is subtle, carefully structured, and designed to remain hidden until it is too late. You and your team connect the pieces. The attack is stopped before it begins. You don't celebrate. You don't even fully process it at first. But later, when you see the impact of what was prevented, you understand something essential. The most important victories are the ones no one ever notices. As your experience grows, so do your responsibilities. You begin traveling undercover identities. Each identity is built carefully, with its own history, habits, and personality traits. Sometimes you are a consultant, sometimes a researcher, sometimes a technical specialist. You learn to answer questions about your life instantly, even when that life is not real. You discover that consistency is more important than complexity. A small mistake repeated is more dangerous than a large lie told once. Over time, you stop thinking of your cover identities as disguises. You start thinking of them as tools. One assignment takes you overseas. Your objective is to observe and gather intelligence on a network involved in illegal technology transfers. You are not supposed to intervene. Only observe, document, and understand. At first, your role feels simple. You attend conferences. You meet professionals. You engage in conversations that seem harmless, but slowly reveal connections between people who should not be connected. You learn how information flows in hidden ways, through introductions, shared contacts, and casual conversations that are never truly casual. Building trust becomes your primary skill. People do not reveal secrets quickly. They reveal fragments. A name mentioned in passing. A comment about a meeting that wasn't supposed to happen. A hesitation before answering a simple question. You learn to listen to hesitation more than words, but the job is never stable. One day, you notice something unsettling. A single individual appears repeatedly in different places where you are present. At first, you dismiss it as coincidence. But patterns do not lie, not when you are trained to see them. You adjust your behavior. Change your routes. Shift your schedule. Observe carefully. The presence continues. You realize you may be under surveillance. This is the moment training prepares you for, but nothing truly prepares you for the feeling of being watched in real time. It is subtle at first, a shift in awareness, a quiet pressure at the edge of your instincts. You do not panic. You act. You change environments, reduce predictability, and begin mapping behavior instead of reacting to it. You observe the observer. Eventually, the pattern breaks. The surveillance stops. You never fully learn who was watching you, and in your world, that is normal. Answers are often incomplete. Years pass like this. Assignments overlap. Identities change. Locations shift. You live in a constant state of transition, never fully belonging anywhere long enough to feel permanent. You begin to understand something deeper about your profession. Being a secret agent is not about action. It is about control. Control over your reactions, your emotions, and your perception of reality. It is about functioning in uncertainty without letting uncertainty define you. There are moments of danger, but they are rarely dramatic. More often, they are quiet decisions made in seconds that determine whether situations remain stable or collapse. You learn to trust your training more than your fear, and yet, despite everything, there are moments when the weight of the life you live becomes undeniable. You sit alone in hotel rooms where no one knows your real name. You eat meals without company. You listen to conversations but rarely share your own truth. Every friendship becomes temporary by necessity. Still, you continue because you understand the purpose. You are part of something larger than yourself, something invisible, something that operates in the background to prevent chaos from reaching the surface. The world never knows your name. It never needs to. And maybe that is the point, because your life as a secret agent is not defined by recognition or reward. It is defined by what never happens because you were there. And in the quiet spaces between action and consequence, you remain exactly where you are needed, unseen, alert, and always ready for the next assignment.